Okay, so you mentioned that you've had quite a considerable history in Malta and grown quite considerably. So could you just explain how did that initial sort of investment in Malta begin, and why has the group consistently invested in Malta? What do they see as the real benefits?
Um, uh, First and foremost, FTI started as a multi-specialist, so it had already a presence in Malta. Um, uh, the, 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 the managing director at the time of who is now the chairman of the group, um, uh, wanted something different to offer the German public.
Mm-hmm.
And Malta at the time in the mid 80s was not the very popular as a tourism destination, but he saw the potential in Malta and started as a Malta specialist. And since there was already a presence in Malta, um, and he wanted to have the invoices checked by someone in Malta who is Maltese, it was the obvious choice. Um, that is where we were as FTIAS at the right place at the right time, I would say. But then we had obviously to work hard to maintain this. The advantages are, in my opinion, three mainly. One is the English language, because nowadays FTI works with suppliers, with hotels, car hire companies, etc., all over the world. And most of these suppliers are, although not native English speaking, but the business communication is done in English. Two is the competitive salaries compared to Germany, even though lately the salaries in Malta have increased quite considerably. They are still very competitive with Germany. And thirdly is the staff, the flexibility of the staff, and the will to do and offer a good service. Um, uh, this is really appreciated by the head office. Also, because of this staff attitude and flexibility, we managed to even beat internal competition from other subsidiaries in the group, especially like places in Bangkok where the salaries are relatively much cheaper. They are, at least theoretically, English speaking as well, although very difficult to understand, as I experienced only a couple of weeks ago. But they are English speaking, salaries are much cheaper, but this staff flexibility and service quality is still not there. So I think, and I'm very quite sure, in fact, that these three elements have to be there to really have a good competitive advantage to retain this service being supplied from Malta.
Well, you mentioned that a few years back you had staff attrition rates of around 60%.
Yes.
And at the moment that's right down to just 3%. So,
exactly.
so what were the measures that you put in place to really make that change?
The fact that we had 60% at that point in time, 4 years ago, I had personally just started my MBA and had just been promoted to a GM position. And the first thing I did when I was promoted to a GM position, with the help of reading the MBA, so again, right place at the right time, was to take a stock take of what is happening in the company. And the worst thing that was happening is the brain drain that we were experiencing with 60% turnover. This was very, very evident. So the first thing that we embarked on was a strategy for training and development. I really stress development because we wanted to, first and foremost, what we did on training is that all the tacit knowledge that we had in people's mind, we wanted to put it in an explicit format. And the only way we could do that is by creating manuals for each and every process that we have. Even though our salaries are very competitive, we give a lot of importance on efficiency. So each huge process is broken down into small processes, and for each of these small processes, we made sure that it will be written down in a easy to use manual. To do this, we actually recruited a fully qualified teacher who started getting training herself on these processes, wrote the manuals herself, then gave it to the experts of these processes to proofread, etc., etc., and then we delivered off the job training by this qualified teacher, supplemented by on-the-job training with the expert of this process.
Right.
So first it was tacit to explicit. Then we also made sure that we do certain development training. What I mean by development training is that we give training on things that people, even if they leave the company, they will still have an advantage from it. Like how to write proper business English, telephone skills, and there are a number of different. Obviously, we are giving, but this is to a certain extent also training, Excel, Outlook, and other Microsoft Office training, which people do appreciate, because this, although it's not so much necessary to do their job because their job is on in-house built programs, but these tools sometimes help them to make their job easier or more efficient, and they also appreciate that these things they are going to learn them even if they're going to leave the company. Another thing that we did was that we started listening to staff, how they feel about their job, what we ask them for advice, how we can improve the process to make it easier for them, more fun for them, and make it more efficient for the company. If a person did not feel very comfortable with his job, but we saw potential in him, we didn't think twice of basically offering him other different jobs. And yes, in general, caring for people's needs. At the end of the day, we also offered a study support scheme to complement this in-house training and development. We also saw the need to have qualified, academically qualified people. So we offered what we call the study support scheme, where we are paying the expenses of diplomas, first degrees, masters in business administrations, and accounting qualifications like the ACCA. We do a contract with the employee for a number of years, depending on the cost of the course, and even that was very appreciated by the staff. And we had a 20% take up of this SSS till now, because it's still growing. People are every month we have new people asking about this SSS and actually going for it. And this also shows that people want to actually grow within the company. And yes, all these things, with all these things, we managed to reduce the staff turnover to 3% in 2010.
Okay, and 1 in 5 has actually asked to have additional studies and create academic qualifications.
Exactly. We have a number of MBAs. If I'm not mistaken, we have something like 4 reading for an MBA at the moment. We have something like another 6 who are reading for a diploma in business administration. We have between 8 and 10 reading for the ACCA qualification. Apart from, we also encourage the short courses, even organized by local companies, where are either a 1-day course or 3 months course evening, especially if it is if a person feels that it will help him in his job particularly, or in his self-development in general. In 99.9% of the cases, we say yes, go ahead. And, so we are instilling a culture of self-development as well in this thing, as much as possible. So it's not the company who is telling the people what training needs they have, but we are trying to do it the other way around. The employee tells us what training needs. Obviously, for the company, this helps because the quality of the service increased considerably as well. One, because the knowledge remained in the company. In fact, today I can safely say that from all the subsidiaries that FTI has, including the accounting and controlling in Germany, Malta is the most experienced subsidiary of the whole group. And this led also to the company, the group, asking us to give the support to new formed subsidiaries around the world in processes and accounting and training and the accounting system that we have, etc., etc. And this is very lucrative for us because we are continuously being ingrained in the strategy, in the whole strategy of the company, and this is what we ultimately aim for.